Hello, and welcome to the weekly broadcast of Strategic Speaking for Results. I'm Elizabeth Bachman, your host, and today I want to ask you if you go off on tangents. If you're telling a story and you go off onto something that's really interesting, or if you're doing a presentation at work and you find yourself starting way back at the beginning to tell how you got to an answer. Well, in some ways, that's a good thing. But I have senior managers and C-level people complaining to me all the time that they have employees who come and they give them a report and they speak, they go on and on and on and on and on. And the senior manager, the C-level person, doesn't know what they're talking about. This goes back to what I've spoken about many times on these episodes, on these videos, of single-focused people who are task-oriented and multi-focused people who are relationship-oriented and detail-oriented. The thing is that in business, you have a limited amount of time. So it's important to be a concise and compelling speaker. Give a presentation, but don't go into all the detail. I call this the expert trap, and it's so easy to fall into. We all do it. Anybody who knows a whole lot about a subject, it's really easy to fall into the trap of talking too much, telling too many details. Go back first to rule number one, which is use strategic empathy to put yourself in the shoes of your listeners. What do they want? What do they need to know? What do they care about? Tell them at the beginning, is this an update or is this something they need to do something about? Single-focused people, you have to be single-focused to rise in an organization, which is why so many senior managers are single-focused. And actually, it's just better for everybody to be concise and just not take too much time. The multi-focused communication is interesting and rich, and it's a web of details and relationships, but it also takes more time. Start with rule number one, know your audience, make it about them, use strategic empathy to put yourself in their shoes, and then say, what do they really need to know? The big trap that we all fall into is too much how, not enough why. What do they need to know and why? Tell them why it's going to matter. Why should they care? What are the benefits that are involved? And then, if you're having a hard time sticking to this, prepare your presentation in reverse. Think about the difference between a stopwatch and a kitchen timer, for instance. A stopwatch, you start and you just go until you're done, which is the way many speakers speak. A kitchen timer is a countdown to a time when you have to stop. So if you think of your speech as a kitchen timer, where do you need to finish? What's the important information you need to end with that they're going to need to know? And then make sure you have time to give the end. This is especially important if you are pitching an idea or pitching a product to a client. If you're talking to a client, why should they care? Why does it matter? Make sure you have time to ask for what you need. Make sure that you have left time for them to think about it. Now, that doesn't mean that you can be only the facts. You're going to want to use stories strategically so that you can illustrate your points. But think about a framework. You have your main points in the outline, and then maybe you have a one or two sentence explanation. And then More explanation after that, plus a story. There's a lot more about that on my podcast, how to write a great script. And if you're curious, reach out to me. I can get you access to that. In the meantime, remember, why should they care? Make it about them and don't go into too much detail. This has been Strategic Speaking for Results. I'm Elizabeth Bachman. I'll see you on the next one.